Live. Notice that. Need my ball cap on. Look about bald. Let's go down here and type something. All right. I don't see anything going on yet. Uh-oh. What we got here? I don't know nothing about this yet. If you got any questions about squirrel hunting, squirrel accessories, I'd be glad to answer them for you. First time going live. It's kind of weird, but let's try it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. But if you got any questions about squirrel hunting and squirrel hunting accessories, I'll be glad to try to answer some while I have an internet connection. I can see that some people are in here, I guess, but I can't really tell. If you got a question, type it. Be glad to answer anything I can. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'll speak up. All right. I guess there's some more people in here. Here we go. And does my squirrel season start? All right. Shoot to kill. North Carolina typically starts October the 15th, right around there. And it'll run all the way till February the 28th. Our fox squirrel season runs from October 15th to December the 31st. Usually give those fox squirrels a little bit of time to recuperate. If they allowed the fox squirrels to be hunted between January and February after deer season goes out on December the 31st, you would see a decline in the fox squirrel population numbers. But I sure enjoy chasing those. We got so many color varieties around here. It's a lot of fun to hunt those, like the trophy buck of the squirrel woods for sure. Hopefully that answered the question, and hopefully you were able to hear me well. I don't have any way to hear the feedback of my voice. Any more questions out there? Anybody got any questions? You want to know questions about ammo? You want to know questions about optics, rings, the 452, my beloved 452, hunting suppressed? Anything I can give you some insight on, I'll be glad to give it to you. Indiana. Ooh, August the 15th. Wow, I can hardly imagine going into the woods right now. It is crazy hot around here and humid and just stagnant mosquitoes, ticks. Bad as I, love to squirrel hunt, I'd have to wait till it got cooler. It's nice to walk into the woods on a cooler morning in October to kick our season off. But I have hunted Indiana type fox squirrels before. They're pretty big, and of course I've got that standard gray to red color. And I hunted them in the Shenandoah Valley, and they are large squirrels. They are very, very skittish. They're Of course, our fox squirrels are skittish, but I was expecting to be able to get on the fox squirrels up in the Shenandoah Valley much better than I had success. Knife for skinning squirrels. My preferred knife is the Spyderco Delica 4. I appreciate the VG10 steel. It's pretty easy to resharpen. It's a knife I don't have to worry about rusting on me, and I appreciate that. I just wash it out with some water when I get done. I don't even hand dry it. I just air dry it and let it roll. And it stays quite sharp for quite a while, but I use the the Edge Pro Apex to sharpen it up. September 15th in Wisconsin for starting. I would probably like to hunt Wisconsin. That's real far north, so I imagine temperatures in September are pretty nice there. August 18th in Kentucky, it looks like. That's a state I would love to travel to and squirrel hunt for sure. Definitely, I'm sure. And Kentucky, I'm sure y'all have got fox squirrels also. It seems like on the Kentucky Outdoors show, I have seen them hunt fox squirrels. And as far as outdoor programming and state-led programming goes, I think Kentucky Afield is an excellent show on YouTube. I enjoy the way it's produced and how it's put together. So if you haven't seen Kentucky Afield, I definitely suggest watching that. I wish North Carolina would put something together like that. Question I get a lot often is why do I choose not to shoot or hunt with a shotgun versus a 22 rifle? I just enjoy the precision of a 22 rifle over shotgun. Shotgun's loud. Now that we can hunt with suppressors, it's hard for me to reach for a rifle that is not threaded. It brings me great joy to be able to hear the thump of the round impacting the squirrel and nothing else is disturbed in the woods. Hunting bag loadout, has it changed any? That's a good question. I never got around to doing the update to the ribs pack over the jumbo Versa pack, and I hate to say it, but it looks like the ribs company is out of business, defunct. Something's going on with them. They don't produce that pack anymore. I mainly use it to carry a majority of camera or filming equipment. I keep my reloads in it, my extra magazines, always keep some toilet paper in there, fire making kit if I happen to get lost or stuck in the woods, gloves, face mask. I'm trying to recall. And I'm drawing a blank. Of course, I got my shooting sticks. I got my shooting sticks on the pack at all times. Hand warmers when they're needed. Thermocell when it's needed. My squirrel carrier. I keep my knife, flashlight, my laser pointer. That's something that if you've watched this year's video, you've seen me utilize a whole lot more. Brad from time to time, love Brad, from time to time has difficulty finding the squirrels in a tree. I do too sometimes. So we pass the laser pointer back and forth to be able to use it to locate the squirrels. It definitely helped out with my daughter this year. Once I can get her on a squirrel, she's been incredibly accurate with the 22 rifle, which has surprised me quite a bit. So that was a good question. Thank you for that question, Stephen Myers. That's a good question. I probably carry more gear in the woods than needed, but there's a comfort level there that I appreciate by having all that stuff on me and ready to go. I do enjoy hunting river bottoms, as Kentucky Boy has said. I tend to find a lot of squirrels on the river bottom. They like to hang around the edges of water, and I guess there's a lot of times this has got to do with their feeding habitat. Be glad to take any more questions. Anybody got any more? I appreciate y'all tuning in. This is a spur of the moment thing. I have never experienced the Nylon 66, so I don't know a whole lot about it. To me, it looks like an older model pump BB gun, and that's just from seeing pictures of it. I've never handled one, so I don't have a clue. You'd have to let me know if they're accurate or not. I don't have a clue about that gun. I hear nostalgia about them. I think there's a collector's guild of them, but it's not one that I've ever experienced. Model 25. The Marlin Model 25, I think, was the predecessor to the XT22 series. And I don't really have any experience with that other than to say the XT22 is a pretty good gun. I hate that Marlin and Remington have got together and are under one entity now. I think Marlin did a whole lot better when they were a solo entity. I think they built a better gun when they didn't have the guys of Remington hovering over them. But the Marlin Model 60, I've hunted with extensively. Just lost my chat. I don't know what happened there. There we go. So I know the Marlin Model 60 has got a reputation for accuracy. Their micro groove barrels to me are pretty impressive. Okay, I will possibly take you up on that offer, Kentucky Boy. I appreciate that. I'd love to see the fella I hunted, some of your knife work. The fella I hunted with in the Shenandoah Valley happened to make some knives too, and he had some really, really pretty specimens to skin squirrels with. Peter, on the high-end PCPs, I would love to try those, but when I dive into something, I dive pretty deep, and I'm not real sure that the intimidation of the PCP air market doesn't cower me into a corner. Having to have a scuba tank and having things refilled, and how many shots how many shots of air till my accuracy starts falling off, and pellet choice, and everything ceased with the air gun for me when North Carolina allowed hunting of squirrels with suppressors. That made things so much easier for me. It's like shooting an air rifle, except I don't have to worry about any of that pressure stuff. I'd love to try FX Impact, but holy cow, are they expensive. It blows my mind that $1,600 will be spent on something that uses air to send a projectile down range. That's good to hear. I'm glad that you have a Nylon 66 that's very accurate. That's something I would definitely want heirloom wise to be passed down to you, especially if you're going to use it and it would put a smile on his face. That's part of the reason why I'm such a 452 fan. I prefer to be able to have something heirloom style to pass down. When my chat regenerates, I'll be able to answer more questions. I don't know where it's gone. Here we go. Big Game Cat Whisperer and 177. I've tried a Springer, and Springers are so hold sensitive. It is incredibly aggravating to shoot one shot and have it hit point of impact and point of aim, and then shoot the next shot and it just be out in left field. It is so frustrating. On Facebook, that's probably something I should do. I think I'd have a whole lot more involvement on both YouTube, Instagram, if I were on Facebook, because it seems like everybody and their brother's cousins on Facebook, and I don't like the way they meter content, and I just don't like the way they handle business, and I quit them a long time ago. Instagram is mostly what I use. From time to time, I'm on Twitter. If I could figure out how to type into the feed on YouTube, I'm not some internet guru. I would use YouTube in that facet where I could update things. I am thinking about possibly putting together a Brunswick stew, squirrel Brunswick stew cooking video, since I hadn't done a cooking video in a while, and I'll probably make it much shorter than my fried squirrel and gravy. I made some killer Brunswick stew about a year ago, and it turned out so well. I thought about filming the process. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I definitely got some squirrels that I could put to use. If you'd like to see that, I don't know if the thumbs up at the top is worth clicking. There's only 3 of those thumbs ups right now, but if you want to, say it in the comments. I'd love to see if y'all are interested in watching a cooking video. Let's see. Okay, to Benjamin. I was looking at a R7. I don't remember who made that. It's an R9. Is that Beeman? I had some European sparrow problems at the bird feeder, and I was looking for something for that. And I considered the R7, but it was so blessed expensive to me. Thought to myself, darn, $399 could buy a CZ452. Why would I buy an air rifle? So I haven't tried anything past one of the Chinese-made Ziscos. Is Zisco? I don't know how to say it. 17 HMR. Let's discuss that. I tried a Ruger 18-inch threaded from the factory. I was unimpressed with the accuracy. I really was. I was blown away that it was unable to produce good accuracy. And I sent it back to Ruger, and they promptly destroyed it and sent me another one. And it shoots a little better, but I was getting 2-inch groups at 50 yards, and that's just crazy unacceptable from a 17 HMR. It should be shooting bug holes at 50 yards. But I do have a CZ 452 in 17 HMR. It just creates so much damage. If you don't hit in the head, you got no meat left. And the noise is aggravating. Now, if I chose to thread it, because it shoots like a laser, if I chose to thread it, I would probably hunt with it like that. And I had a 452 Mach 2, but I didn't find myself using it. If I can hit a squirrel at 100 yards with a suppressed 22 rifle, I choose to do it that way. That's why I choose optics that have a ranging capability. What's my favorite squirrel recipe? Yeah, the squirrel Brunswick stew by far. If you are afraid of any gaminess in squirrel, and it can happen, the Brunswick stew will take it right out. It's unbelievable. You add a little bit of hot sauce, your tomato mix is right, all your vegetables, you spice it up. To me, when I made it last year, it was excellent. Excellent. I was blown away with how well it turned out. I don't know about that one. But the Brunswick stew was stellar. I was impressed. But I think I probably put something together that would be a 10-minute video, something like that. What about season limits in the state you're in? For us in North Carolina, we got an 8-day limit on grays, and we can kill as many as we want per season. It does not matter. It used to be a 75 per year limit, but apparently the biologists have done enough research on the gray squirrel, and we have such a ample population that we can take up to 8 per day every day of the season if we wanted to. And I don't know how that would affect the numbers, but last year I took a total of 60. My daughter took a total of 10. the limited time she went. And I want to say I got one fox squirrel. I can't quite remember. There's my chat. 917, the marlin. You know, marlins, their micro groove barrels are impressive. And I love the stock on the Ruger. I love the fact that you can change out the cheek pieces so that the your comb aligns with your scope, and that it's got a 70-degree bolt throw, and it's got a tang safety. I mean, there's a whole lot to like about the Ruger American series, and I haven't tried the 22, so I can't speak to its accuracy, but I was devastated that the 17 was as scrappy as it was. Yep, 1/4-inch groups. Yeah, I would expect that. That's what I would. Yeah, 50 yards. That 17 should shoot the same darn hole, and I was blown away when it was a 2-inch group at 50 yards. And I tried 4 different types of ammo. Alabama. I don't know a whole lot about the state of Alabama, but I do know that I have one frequent writer to me that enjoys hunting in Alabama. That's one of his favorite places to hunt. Yes, I do deer hunt. Right now in my life, deer opportunity. If one happens along while I'm squirrel hunting and I need some meat, that's kind of how it goes. I will probably take my daughter squirrel hunting this year. Squirrel hunting, deer hunting this year. She looks like she's excited about going after a deer. So I'm trying to work up a 223 load that I can use to not shy her away from shooting, because she's used to shooting suppressed 22s, and be accurate enough to take a deer down. Any videos planned for this year? Yes, we are going to start filming as soon as squirrel season comes in. I don't know if it'll be every hunt. Had we filmed on the last day of season last year, we wouldn't have killed as many as we did. I think we killed 14 squirrels on February 28th of last year. And we actually, instead of, usually when we film and squirrel hunt, I take a squirrel, Brad films, Brad will take a squirrel, I'll film. We may end up with doubles or something like that. He takes 2, or you never know how it's going to go. But we actually split up on the last day in the same patch of woods, and ended up having a banner final day. Final days usually don't go like that, but the temperature was above normal, and they were just out trying to feed. Most of the time when February gets around, things start shutting down. Even mid-January, things start shutting down. They start denning up. It usually doesn't work out well for us, but temperature was right on February 28th last year. And I may do the Brunswick stew video before squirrel season. It just depends on if I've got a weekend free and I can get the filming down pat and edit it all together. I finally updated from Pinnacle Studio 15 to Pinnacle Studio 21. If it tells you how long I've been using the old 15, it was crapping out on me when I tried to get that clear edge video out. And now I'm up to 21, and I will use it going forward to be able to edit. Oh, do I think I could bring a deer down with a 22? Absolutely. I've done it multiple times. What led me to find that out was we were about to ease into a patch of woods to squirrel hunt for an afternoon. We heard a deer hunter take a shot on an adjacent property, and I told Brad, I said, it sounded like a miss, man. And that was all it was. We went down into the woods and probably spread out about 20 yards from one another. And I started to sit down. I saw something across the creek, which I thought was a squirrel. And I saw a tail flicker, and I said, that's a strange looking tail. And the buck was crossing the creek coming up my way limping. And at 44 yards, he turned his head away from me and looked away from me. So I had a back of the skull shot. I took a knee with my sticks at 44 yards, and that's a huge target. If you're used to shooting quarters at 50 yards for your squirrel hunting accuracy. The back of a deer's head at 44 yards is giant. And I shot that deer in the back of the head with an Ely subsonic, and he dropped like a rock. And I had my landowner call who he knew was hunting over there and tell him that I had his deer and that if he would allow him on the property, he could come get it. And he had taken a shot with a 257 Roberts from about 100 yards, hit him through the elbow, skinned him across his brisket, and the deer wouldn't have died, but he would have been injured, for the rest of his life. So I went ahead and put him out of his misery. So yes, it'll absolutely work. Do I hunt public or private land? I hunt a mixture of both. Most of it's private. If I choose to go after a different variety or color scheme of fox squirrel, it's usually a public opportunity. Dang right, Lance. Best thing is passing it on. I have found great value in seeing my daughter's face light up, and I was hoping a whole lot of people would really enjoy the fact that I got her on film. Myself and LeBray got her on film this year, killing a few different squirrels. I wish I could have gotten her first one on film, but I was solo with her, and I was trying to coach her through using the gun, and I didn't feel like I needed to focus on using the video camera at that point in time. I needed to coach her through her breathing, her trigger control, where she was aiming, any questions she had. I felt like I needed to be there to do that instead of filming. So when LeBray got with us later on, and we got together, and he was able to film that first one she killed. That's a memory that I have encapsulated in time now that I can get back to at any point in time. And that's the whole reason I started a journal. That's the whole reason I started filming squirrel hunts. Nobody squirrel hunts anymore. I want to say that, of course, people in this chat thread do squirrel hunt, but nobody films it. Nobody puts it out there. Everybody's in pursuit of the whitetail. And I spent years hunting horns. I'm a meat hunter now. I need it for chili, spaghetti sauce, taco mix. I'd kill me 100-pound doe and have her ground up. I'm good to go. No problem, Hank. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I really do. I mean that from the deepest depths of my heart. For somebody to invest their time to watch us enjoy something that we get to do on most Saturdays is pretty humbling to me. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to watch. Wow, a slingshot for squirrels. Now that's impressive. The only time I would think about carrying a slingshot in the woods is if I was a deer hunter and they were just aggravating the snot out of me, which they tend to do when you're deer hunting. The old saying goes, if you want to see some deer, go squirrel hunting. If you want to see some squirrels, go deer hunting. So I would use that to cut them down when they start bumping their gums at me. We can't private message anymore, Kentucky boy, on YouTube. Will you send me an email to natebonebuster@gmail.com? Matter of fact, I'll put that in the chat section. Looks like I spelled that right. If you'll send me that, I will be glad to get up with you on that. And wow, I appreciate it. I really do. I'd love to try it out. I'd love to put it on film. I need to shoot a new squirrel skinning video. I guess a lot of people look at the last one and they're like, wow, it took you forever to skin that squirrel. The whole point of me doing that video was to show you how, not to show you how fast. This is how you learn. We're trying to teach. We're not trying to speed demon. Some people just don't understand that teaching is a process. More is caught than taught. So showing you how to do it, hopefully you pick up on some skills. I've gotten much better since that video. Oh, cool. You seem like you got a lot of skill there, Grant. Wow, all the way out to New Mexico. You know, something I would love to hunt is prairie dogs. I think I could probably burn a couple barrels up doing that. That looks like a lot of fun. So ground squirrels, we got groundhogs around here. They're chubby, and there's not as many of those as there used to be in our area. We don't have anything like a ground squirrel, anything of that nature. But yeah, I can understand how you'd be a little heartbroken not hunting squirrels for years. There's some squirrel out in Colorado, and I don't know how to pronounce it. A Kelob. I'm probably totally slaughtering that name, but that squirrel's got some tufts of fur that comes up off of his ears. That's a pretty squirrel to me. That's a squirrel I'd like to go hunt. That's out on the West Coast. This has turned out to be pretty good. Gauge. I'm assuming when you're saying just don't waste it, you're saying don't waste the squirrels. And if that's the case, one of the things that was taught to me early on when we started squirrel hunting, when I started having a passion for squirrel hunting back in my teens, we would always take those squirrels in the area we were hunting to a less fortunate family, and they were always so thankful for it. And that really, burn a place in my heart for being able to give to others. So when we would kill those squirrels and we would have a great morning or a great afternoon, to be able to take them to the older lady's name was Ola, and she used to sit in front of her stove. She was an old black lady that lived in a very, very small double wide trailer, and she was so thankful to get those squirrels. And it was amazing for me to be able to walk in and say, Ola, we killed you a whole grocery bag of squirrels this morning. And she was also, oh, bring them in here. Let me see them squirrel. Oh, I will eat them for breakfast tomorrow morning. Somebody who's just that little brings them so much joy. It's something else. So we certainly don't let them go to waste. We stopped on the way to get some lunch last year towards the end of the season. An older black fellow was sitting out in the yard. We whipped the truck back around. He's disabled. He come walking up thinking maybe we were going to hurt him. We got out of the truck and let him know that we had some squirrels to offer him. He said, well, I don't have the use of my right hand anymore. I can't skin them. We said, sir, they're completely skinned in a Ziploc bag, ready to go. We'd love to give them to you. And he took them. And, we enjoy the hunt. We love taking the squirrels, but they're not always all for us. We're always looking for somebody to give them to. But we always put the work in. When we come out of the woods, skin them up, put them in our Ziploc bags, throw them in the cooler. And from there, we either take them home, put them in the freezer for cooking ourselves. I give them to somebody, or if I have an overload of them, I will usually boil 2 crock pots up full, and I'll debone them, and it's organic dog food for both my feists. And, dog don't care. Meat's meat. I'm a head shooter, so I don't do the brain. I hear a lot of old people do the brain, and you would get fussed at for shooting them in the head, but that's my target of choice. I'm not going to do anything with the head except for cut it off with the pajamas I pull off and chunk it in the woods for something else to eat. I did an article, Stephen, on how to make a squirrel carrier, and I take a poplar dowel, and you can get a piece of maple out of the woods, whatever tree is darn, what's the word? Um, wow, local to you, something that's lightweight. I get one of them metal fish stringers from Walmart, take all those big swivels off of them, and use an eyelet hook. I got a whole article on this on squirrelhuntingjournal.com on how to make a squirrel carrier. And you can usually, if you use the right swivel system, tote up to 5 or 6 on there. I don't like wearing a game vest. I don't like sticking something bloody in my clothing. If it bounces off my leg, it's not a big deal, but that's usually how I tote them. And that little 6-inch piece of dowel, if I find a forked branch in the woods and we go to getting on another squirrel, I can reach into that forked branch and hang that dowel up in between it and leave my squirrels hanging there and not lay them down on the forest floor so I can't find them later. Yeah, I'd definitely say you're old school if you're eating brain. There is no doubt. I have that. That doesn't sound good to me, but yeah, takes all types. If the brain's good for you, brother, shoot them in the heart and roll on. Oh yeah, absolutely, Grant. I have shot multiple squirrels to be taxidermied and not graze. I have got, I think I've got 6 fox squirrels on the wall, and that's mainly because of color phases. Um, because you've got the black with the white tip nose here. You've got something called saddleback. You've got something I call tricolor. There's just so many different color varieties in North Carolina that it's hard to pass that up. Now, the area where I live, taxidermists want $250, but I can drive an hour southeast, and I can get them done for $150 on a piece of driftwood. So I always drive the extra mileage. I'm not sure what a PO is, Grant. If you'll explain that to me, I'm being a little confused about that. I'm not sure what you're talking about. So if you'll tell me, I'll try to explain if I know what it is. A little salt and pepper on the brain, and that's all you need. And I tell you what, I'm kind of squeamish when it goes to that. So I don't know that I can handle that. I'm surprised there's no questions on ammo. Um, oh, position to miss. Okay, a position to mount a squirrel. I got a buddy who mounted a fox squirrel facing down with the tail, uh, going north. And what I've noticed about that is, as the years pass, the fur on the tail by the bone structure falls out, so it almost looks like a dust mop. And there's no way to bring the tail back up. So I always have my fox squirrels positioned like they're going up the tree, so that the tail and the natural flow of gravity keeps the tail hung properly. I've got one seated, and he's got his tail curled around his back, and then I've got one that's standing up on a branch, and his tail's hung down. So I always hang the tails headed south because I don't want gravity to cause them to fray out. Wow. No, I've never tried bear. That would be something I'd be interested in trying. Elk, something like that. It blows my mind also, being that I'm from the East Coast. We've got some elk in the North Carolina mountains. They're pretty sparse, but to shoot something that you have to quarter and carry out on your back has always been intriguing to me. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of animal. Choice of suppressor. Yes, I have one that leads the ranks. The Dead Air Mask. I love that can. I've got a Gemtech, uh, one of the old Outback 2Ds with aluminum baffles. stay away from aluminum baffles. Even if they're anodized, I don't care. If you put something harsh on that baffle, it will damage the baffle, and therefore you have a class 3 deal where you've got to ship it back, and it's enough to deal with to have to wait to get them. Stainless steel is worth the extra 3 ounces. You will not feel that 3 ounces. You will be so happy you bought stainless steel because the cleanup is so much easier. It's what you save in weight on aluminum, you make up for in cleaning on a stainless steel baffled suppressor. I can shoot that dead air mass 1,500, 2,000 rounds before I need to tear it apart. The Gemtech 150 rounds, and you're gonna have to beat the baffles out of the can. If I were going to look for a second one, the Silencer Co Spectre 2 would be something I would look at. It's got the same type of K baffle arrangement, close to the dead air mask. But if you can pony up the coin, oh boy, do I love my mask. I do love it. I'd love to have a second one. Tell me your budget, and I will give you what I would consider at whatever range you're talking about. A 93 R17, I had one of those at one time. Very, very accurate rifle. I was surprised at the accuracy. I killed a groundhog with that rifle at 191 yards with a 17 grain, one of the VMAXs. I was always impressed with that rifle, other than the crappy stock. But Savage has never been known for making decent stocks. I think they are now. I think they're thinking more on the comb line to line up with a scope, because why would you buy a 17 and not put an optic on it? I mean, 100 yards with irons, yeah, there's some folks that can do it, but give me something that's got a comb level where I can rest my cheek properly and get proper visual alignment through a scope. I wish gun companies would start thinking like that. Stainless steel baffles can also be cleaned in a tumbler. Yes, they can. I use a stainless steel media tumbler for my dead air mask with Lemmy Shine, and it works pretty well. And usually I like to fire the can a few times before I disassemble it. It tends to loosen up the lead somewhat so that it comes off the can a little easier. Let's see. Generally, most people's budget's under 400, but I would go up to 500. In that range right there, it's hard not to recommend the CZ452. The 455 is going to be cheaper, but are you going to get a more accurate shooter than the 452? The 452 is most of the time more accurate, and when I say most of the time, I'm going to say 98% of the time more accurate than the 455. It's just something about that interchangeable barrel system that just the headspace doesn't always line up right. The nice thing about it, though, is if you get a crap factory barrel, there are options to buy, better barrels, like the Feddersen barrel I have on my 455. It's a great shooter. And if you ain't happy, Fred Feddersen will make you happy. He has excellent customer service. If you get a crappy barrel, he will make it right. But the cheapest 452s I've seen on the market are at Whitaker's in Kentucky, and you're looking at about $450 right now. And I want to say Whitaker's in Kentucky is a free shipping venue now also. When they got their second to last shipment of 100 in, they were charging $349 for them. So the $449 that they charge now makes me wonder if they're getting close to completely cutting the 452 out. If I were going to look something that was $400 to $500 and completely put it together, that means ammo, glass, and ready to shoot sling, I would probably look at Marlin or the Remington. I'm not Remington. Ruger American. The thing you won't like about the Marlin is the magazine sticks out of the bottom of the gun. I don't know that they make a flush fit. Yep, I don't doubt it. If you don't have wind, this 17 HMR is an absolute missile, a little bitty tiny missile. But you let a cricket fart somewhere downrange, and it's gonna blow that round off 5 feet. But it is definitely explosive. There's no doubt. I do like the 17 HMR. Hadn't tried the WSM. Not a 22 Magnum fan. It just ain't me. And I guess as my ears age, I just the noise, the man hunting with a suppressor is something else. Being able to definitively know that you made impact or you missed completely is pretty valuable. I wish SK Lapua makes SK ammo. I wish SK would produce a hollow point. They got rid of their subsonic hollow points. I don't know why, but they got rid of those. Maybe they want a good seller for them. But I have the Waltz die tool that will allow me to hollow point the SK Standard Plus ammo, and it works great. If I don't go too big on the hollow point, it'll fly true like it does in its typical lead round nose fashion, and it'll put a hurting on a squirrel. It's more temperature sensitive than Ely subsonic, but the fact that it shoots like a, let's say, a Lapua Center X or a Ely Match or Ely Edge, but at a much cheaper price, it's hard to beat it for early season. Yep, Mark Hamner. I'm sorry that I slaughtered that. CC452 is a bargain. It's a bargain. It's heirloom quality. You might end up winning the wood lottery. The bolt can be smooth. It's easily disassemblable. The Yo Dave kits to work on the trigger, once you tear it apart, it's very basic mechanics to work on the inside of that gun. I love taking some 320 grit sandpaper and working my bolt down just a little bit, working my bearing surfaces down just a little bit, and then going up to 600 to 1500 to 2500 automotive sandpaper just to get a polish on the bolt so that it runs smooth on the railways. And I'm no gunsmith. I've just been tinkering with the gun long enough. It all started back in 2010. It's almost been a decade. The T-bolt won my heart to start with, but holy cow, Browning, did you put a crappy trigger on that gun? Good grief. And for the whole housing to be polymer, I'm okay with, but for the actual trigger to be polymer on a $600 rifle, nah. And for something that won't go below 3 pounds, 3 pounds. 3 pounds is a lot. I love that gun. I love that push-pull action. I love that flush fit Helix magazine. I love the fact that I've got mine threaded now and that it's accurate with SK Standard Plus, and it's a small, thin, lightweight stock. It's perfect for 3 to 9 or 4 to 14. But holy crap, the trigger. Ugh. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate y'all watching them. It's again, like I said earlier, it's humbling that y'all actually take the time and watch these videos that we put out. And we like to put on a little bit of banter in the woods, and that's not acting. That's our normal banter. When I talk about his bear gun and he's laughing about it, we're constantly making one another laugh. We have a really good rapport, and I hope it comes across well in the videos. Roger that, Paul Walsh. You will find a small sect of squirrel hunters that love the 17 Mach 2. And I'm telling you, it's a laser. You sight her in at 50 yards, you're going to be a 1/4 inch low at 100, maybe 1/2 inch low. and I hate Ely stopped making ammo for the CZ. The CZ just typically likes Ely 17 Mach 2 versus the Hornady offering. And before I sold mine, I thought about having it hacked and threaded, because the suppressor will actually suppress the noise at your ears with a 17 caliber gun that's going to go supersonic. But I couldn't bring myself to damage that pristine rifle. I just couldn't do it. And the Brad still got his, and he ain't gonna cut his no time soon. But he never hunts with it anymore. We both don't. Being able to shoot at a squirrel with a ranging reticle optic and make contact like I did on February 28th of last year at 100 yards. I took one shot, missed, changed my hold to make my hit right, and on the second shot, I made impact at 100 yards, sitting on the side of a hill with my rifle and a pair of shooting sticks, the Stony Point shooting sticks I use. Wow. And that's hard to say for Savage to have a crappy trigger, because most of their guns with the Accu trigger are pretty good. However, the Axis, I think, was bottom of the barrel. Wow. Plain Jane Winchester hollow points, one hole every time. Tell us your yardage. I'm interested to hear. Are you sighting in at 25, 35, 50? Yeah, during Ammogeddon, David, the ability to find Mach 2 ammo was probably non-existent. So if you didn't have a stock of it already, you were up the creek. You had to shoot something else. Sighting at 35. Yep, I would expect one hole at 35. You got a good rifle, decent ammo. Yep, I would want 30. I would want my 35 group to be, I don't know, between a quarter and a half inch. Yeah, headshots at 55. And I think some hunters out there get aggravated because I take the long shots. And they think, and if this is the way you think, more power to you. Let's all get along on it. If you want to creep into 15 yards and kill him that way, excellent. You got awesome squirrel ninja skills. I'm not that kind of guy. I want to see him in my optic, crank my power up to 24, 20, whatever I've got on the scope, and take my shot settled from that position. I have no desire to get any closer. If I can see him, I should be able to shoot him. Wow. Half-inch groups at 120 with your 17, you better hang on to that one. No reason to get rid of it. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Grant had a hawk steal a squirrel that was falling from the tree. We've suspected one time, taking one of the shots we did on camera a couple of years ago, when we took those 65-yarders with the 1022s, we suspected a coyote or fox come through the woods and picked one of those squirrels up because we were unable to find him. All right. And Kentucky boy, I agree with you. I like to carry a pistol squirrel hunting with me, because sometimes trying to shoot a squirrel at 12 yards with a rifle is a more difficult shot than you'll have making a 40 or 50-yard shot with that rifle, because people typically forget the fact that the scope is mounted an inch to an inch and a half over the bore of the rifle. So you have to hold high. If you don't hold high, you're going to miss. So having a pistol there to be able to iron sight with or red dot with is very useful. And I do like the CZ Ultra Lux. It is a long stick to carry in the woods. So if you've got bushy country, it may not be your choice, but boy, oh boy, is it quiet without having to pay the $200 tax stamp to the ATF declare suppressor. Interesting. Mini mags seem to be, when I went hunting with my pa and my daddy back in the day, they seem to be the coup de grace of the ammo choice. To hear that that plastic 100-round case clinking in my granddaddy's pocket was a sweet music to my ears. But it's an excellent round, and if those CCI subsonics are doing you well, they are a cheap date. I think you can get about 100 of those now for what, $6? So it's $3 per 50. That's way cheaper than Ely. And if it shoots good, by all means. I use Stony Point, and I think Stony Point was bought out by Primos. So if you want to look for the type of sticks that I use Primos. I wish they would make them about 45 inches long instead of 39 inches. Those high angle shots that I shoot, I really got to pinch those sticks up so that they do this number right here instead of having them flat out like this. I can't make one of those high angle shots unless I pinch it, and then I have to run my rifle up in that groove almost all the way to the trigger guard. It's a difficult shot to take and master, and I definitely hadn't mastered it, but it takes some practice. But I like Stony sticks. I don't use anything that's like a monopod. I think the bipod gives me the best stability. Plus they're lightweight. They fold up like tent poles, and I have a holster that slides right on the back of my ribs, and I can slide them right in that. And it is perfect for what I do. Oh, I just got labeled as an enabler. I'm the reason you bought the Ultra Lux. Well, I don't think you'll ever regret buying that rifle. I really don't. You shoot subsonics in that rifle, and you got kids you want to train, nephews, nieces, friends' kids. Man, what a cool gun to pull out. It's like 48 inches long. It's like a yardstick and a half. It's just a really, really neat gun. Interesting. The Gander Mountain sticks. And the Gander went under in bankruptcy, but they're opening up under some new business name or something. You fill me in if you know. Wow. Owls attack a turkey. And I got a funny story about it. I was deer hunting one time, and had no deer movement. And I wanted to see if I could call a coyote in. So I started doing the finger squeak. And it was getting on the edge of dark, and I was sitting in that tree stand, my head's on a swivel. I'm looking all around, and I make a turn to the left, and I have feathers in my face and feet in my face, and I got an owl coming out of the heavens at me, thinking I'm a squirrel on the side of that tree. And I screamed, hollered, and he retreated about 10 feet away and sat there and kept trying to figure out why a 190-pound squirrel was up there in that tree making noise. But boy, oh boy, happy to have a flashlight on me that night. Get my butt out of them woods. I was not expecting an owl to come at my face. Oh, somebody's liking the tiger stripe pink camo. Honestly, it's holding up quite well. Definitely gonna let her hunt with that gun more this season. It broke up that pink. Holy cow, was that pink heavy? That was some heavy pink, but I should have bought 2 of those pink Scouts when I bought them. So I bought my original Beechwood Scout, which the pink Scout has a Beechwood stock under it. It's just painted. The regular Beechwood was $287 when I bought it in 2010. The Penguin, you want to take a guess? I'll give you a second to guess how much I paid for that rifle. Gander Outdoors now. Not associated with Gander Mountain. Interesting. I take it you're laughing out loud at my owl scare. Yes. I think everybody who spent some time in the woods has some type of story. Have no clue. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give the answer. Let's give it 5 more seconds. Anybody's got an answer on how much I paid for the pink Scout in 2010? It's got the same guts as the Beechwood Scout that I've got. It's got the AccuRiser on it. Same exact rifle. It's just got a pink stock. No guesses. Okay, we're getting some guesses. Okay, so I paid $287 for the Beechwood. I paid $204 for the Pink Scout. $204. I should have bought as many as I could have because they don't exist. That was one of the first rifles that they took off the market. Was that Pink Dip Scout? So it's Beechwood under there. I could have stripped the paint off and just put some linseed oil on it or something, and had a $204 Scout. You can buy a Savage Rascal for cheaper than that. You can buy a Cricket for cheaper than that. But that's all you got. You don't have a wood stocked magazine fed rifle. You just don't. So yes, I had to break up the monotony of that. My daughter was happy to help, and she's thrilled with it. I mean, she's a pink and purple kind of girl, so it is what it is. Um, so the 225 was pretty close. Pretty close. Like to find a 452 American and a 453 Kentucky. Boy, if you're in Kentucky and you're close to Whitaker's guns in Kentucky, that is the mecca of CZ. So if you're close to that, they had 452s the last I checked. They're about 450. They may run a sale at some point in time. They did during Father's Day. They had some May Day promotion. So always watch Whitaker guns. Always. I would love to do some scope cam footage. My problem with that is I don't have the ability to use the rifle like I would if I was hunting. They make that side shot thing that you can use with what is it, your cell phone. And while that's doable, it's cost prohibitive. That side saddle's crazy expensive. And to forget and to remember to hit the record and try to splice iPhone video in with Canon video, and oh boy, that's a nightmare. I'd love to do that. I honestly would love to do that, but I want to be able to use my optic like I hunt with it now. An hour away from Whitaker's. If I were that close, I'd have to go visit that place. I've only dealt with them on the phone, and they are usually always busy. I ordered a 452 while I was sitting under a beech tree squirrel hunting with a 452. That's how bad I got it. You can go ahead and fill the comment section up with the LOLs now. Let's see. Kentucky trailer trash. What? Oh, come on now. Power ring. Okay. I used the iStreetLock app. It was worth the $5 that I paid for it to be able to dial my stuff in. Going a little nuts for the LOL, baby. I dial my stuff in on that, have my different scopes set up. That Russian fella who has built that app is, wow, he must be a mathematician for the stuff he knows, and to be able to adjust the power range with a slider. And man, that's a great app. So when I took the Squirrel at 87 last year, the Squirrel at 90, and the Squirrel at 100, Streetlock was out every time. I'm not that intelligent to be able to do that math in the optic. Yep. Ding ding, Long Train. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you're out there. Ding ding on Streetlock. .22 long rifle versus a .22 caliber air rifle for squirrels. I don't know. I guess it's what type of pie you like. You like pecan pie, you like apple pie. I like them both, but I know 22 long rifle a whole lot better than I know anything about an air rifle. I I, I wish I had the desire and the coin and the time to tinker with it. Oh, that's a tough question, Long Train. Top pick for decent scope that won't break the bank. You know what? Bushnell quit making it. The Ultra HD. Gosh, that was a great scope, Bushnell. Then they went to this Engage series. That's great. The reticle's too busy. they're coming out with some newer optics, but the prices are heavy. I bought some Ultra HDs for $150 when they were closing them out, but they didn't let anybody know they were closing them out. They just marked the prices down. Usually that means closeout. My all-time favorite 3-9 pick, the Nikon EFR. The only thing it's missing is ranging capability. And I don't mean dialing the turret, because I don't do that when I'm in the woods. I'm talking about having a bullet drop compensation reticle. I'll tell you one I looked through that I was impressed with, but I still have some problems with, is the Leupold Freedom series. Their 4-12 with that little ranging reticle they got in it is crazy clear. It's crazy clear. The reticle is usable. Problem is it's got no side focus. It's got no adjustable objective. And my guess is it's parallax at 100 yards. That's not going to work for me. Yes, David, I do keep up with a track of squirrels. I keep a tally counter on my iPhone when I am squirrel hunting. And LeBrad would love this. Maybe he'll watch this video later. But I get in the truck and I turn the volume up as loud as I can, and I click on that app. And if I've killed 6 squirrels, I'll click that plus button 6 times, and it'll go chick, 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 chick. And he said, "I see you playing with your tallywhacker again." But I keep up with those numbers. I think it's interesting to look back at the end of the season and see how well I did per hunt. I used to keep up with hits and misses and all that. It's a lot of minutia, and I just take more time to do the hunt and enjoy that part of it. Agreed. Air rifles are more complicated. I'm in that camp. If you love them and you know them, like Air Arms, South Africa, that dude and Ted's holdover, man, those guys really got it together on that stuff. And I'm glad they're out there. More power to them. But Air Arms was just in our area hunting squirrels on a pecan farm. Doing quite well. Love the target dot on the EFR. Definitely. It's not too thin. It's not too thick. It's almost like the right bowl of porridge without scalding your tongue. I just wish they'd add ranging to it, and I wish they'd increase their power. Nikon. Give us a 4-18 with side focus that goes down to 10 yards, please. Stop making your side focus stop at 50 yards. Rimfire shooters, air rifle shooters can't use 50-yard AO bottoms. We need 10, 15. Come on, Nikon. Here's a bit of news for you if you didn't know. Nikon's no longer going to be in the wholesale chain at wholesalers. If you want to sell Nikon products from now on, you have to deal directly with Nikon. I just got this news the other day when I was looking for Nikon EFRs. Fixed parallax boo. Yep, roger that. Ever broke 100? We're talking about killing a squirrel, I suspect. Nope, haven't shot over 100 on a squirrel. That 100 yards this year was my first. And to get him in 2 tries was pretty impressive. Simmons 44. Yeah, I'd probably rag you on that one a little bit. I probably would. I'd jab you a little bit, but it'd be all in good fun. Simmons Predator 4-18 by 44. Cool. If it's got the side parallax and it works for you, rock on, baby. Rock on. Do you muck squirrel hunting with I'm not sure if that was a typo or not. Oh yeah, Clear Ridge. To me, and I need their prices to come down just a touch. But again, I'm not in the scope making industry. I don't know what it takes to make a scope in Japan and have it shipped over here. And I don't know all their behind the scenes cost. But their Ultra XP 6-20 is, with mil dots, is probably my favorite squirrel optic that I have. The XP5 is good, but the fact that my neighbor can't hear my turrets click if I'm on dial up bothers me. I don't like the mushiness of, hey, if I got a turret, by grannies, I want her to pop when I start rotating it. I just don't like something that's silent like that. But yes, their Ultra RM line's great. All three of their lines are good, but my favorite is the Ultra XP 6 to 20. Deer feeder, do I ever hunt deer feeders for squirrel? Absolutely. When we have the opportunity to do that, it's just a snipe mission. There's just deer hunters that are tired of them chubby rascals stealing corn. I've got that 87-yard shot this year was on corn that a deer hunter had on that property. And he said, I've got some chubby ones down there at that corn. If you see them, smoke them. So we did. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Russell. I'm glad to hear y'all are barking up Nikon's tree about lowering their parallax. I mean, holy cow. You're totally cutting a part of your market out if you are not giving that part of your market. So tell me what the problem is. If it's already at 50 parallax and you drop it to 15 and you pick up another 25% in sales because now you're catering to another market who can use that same optic. I mean, what's the problem with going past 50? Let's roll on down to 15. Baiting for squirrels. No, not something I do intentionally. No. But am I against hunting squirrels that have been baited? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, Seymour Red Dot 2 on the Mark III. And that's a good gun. Wow. You put a Volquartsen trigger kit in one of those guns. Wow, it's a great gun. Average prices on a Clear Ridge. I think we're talking $229 on their 3 to 9 line. If you're looking at the Ultra XP with mil dot, their mil dots are $10 higher than their duplex dot or their duplex. I think you're looking $369. And I have begged Clear Ridge to offer their coupon code that they use on the optic zone for their Clear Ridge products, and they won't do it. It may be cutting into their margins, but I have begged them. But if you do choose to look at them, let them know I sent you. I am trying to work something out with them so they will give the viewers of my channel a discount. I think they would increase in sales if they would offer a coupon code for their Clear Ridge product. Because to me, I've got something that AO's down to 10 yards. I've got something that has clicky turrets that are well marked, and I've got a power range of 6 to 20. A lot of squirrel hunters prefer a fixed 6 scope, and that's great. But if you want to dial it up, you can dial it up. Let's see. Typos are killing me. Do I hunt over feeders for squirrels? From time to time, whenever the opportunity arises. We've got one place we hunt, and the lady just has squirrels eating her pears, and she doesn't have a opportunity to have her pear preserves and figs and stuff like that. So we just go shoot her squirrels, take care of that problem. And the past 2 years, we have received strawberry jelly, fig jelly, and pear jelly because we've done our job. So there are benefits. Daily limits on the squirrels where we hunt is 8 per person, and there's no season limit on the grays. 12 in Arkansas. Holy cow. I'd have to have a squirrel caddy. I'd have to have somebody come and tote my squirrels for me. Yes. So let's do this in conjunction. Mo Outdoors TV says it'd be nice if we could get a coupon. Go over to Clear Ridge, info@clearridge.com. Email them. Tell them Nate Bonebuster sent you. Squirrel Hunting Journal sent you. Please offer a coupon for your Clear Ridge line. 10 in Missouri, that's good too. I like these numbers. Dang right. A sack full of 12 is a heavy thing to tote, especially if they're well fed. There ain't no doubt about that. Oh, Only six. Well, but y'all got them giant fox squirrels, Russell. Y'all got if you kill six of them, you need every one of your youngest to tote one apiece. Try to dodge the old ones. Yeah, you got to cook them longer. Them jokers are like eating a shoe sole. Oh, I don't know if there's I don't know if there's any ammo questions I can answer. Ammo seems to be something that I guess most people are set on their ammo choice at this point in time. Um, Everybody's got their favorites. I've never had much luck with CCI stuff chambering well in CZs, and I guess the chambers cut short in the CZ. The driving bands on the CCI ammo are a little bit longer, and they to me it's just hard to close the bolt on it. But I've never had any of that trouble with SK, Normatec, Ely subs. They all work well. Ely and SK, baby, you know what pills the squirrels need. Best year for numbers of squirrels 175. All but 11 were headshots. Wow, that's something to be proud of. You almost need a plaque or a trophy or something for that. 175 is great. I've never killed a 175. I don't know that I've broken 100. Um, I couldn't give you an exact number, but I strive for headshots. I really do. I try to make that shot every time. I try to put that animal down as humanely as possible. Yep, that's right. On the suppressor train. Dang right. I'm waiting on a Spectre 2 right now. It's in class 3 jail. Uh so because now that my daughter's hunting suppressed, she wants to hunt that way. Daddy can't not go hunting suppressed, so had to pony up and buy another one. 12-year-old grandson did 90. Almost 17 were headshots. He didn't fall far from the tree, did he? Is that what happened? Go ahead and let us know in the comments. I'm sure that's the case. Yeah. Why wouldn't Arkansas let you? I mean, Arkansas is like deep south. I mean, what are they doing? I was surprised North Carolina did it. I was blown away that North Carolina passed it. And I had just so happened to put my paperwork in for suppressor because I wanted one regardless. So when they passed it, and mine came in a month before squirrel hunting season, yeah, I was happier than a pig in slop. Not far from the tree. That's what I thought. Wow. 90. What was your grandson shooting, David? That's my next question. I'm uh I'm glad I signed into live tonight to do this. This has been enjoyable. Trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of. Head shooting them with open sights. I wish my eyes were still that good. Boy, I hunted them hard with open sights when I was back in 16 to 17-year-old range with my Remington 597. Boy, what a junky trigger on that gun. But I definitely kill some squirrels with it. Fedderson or CZ threaded barrel for my 455. Ooh. If they're going to run about the same price, I'd probably go Fedderson. Because if you get a crappy one from Fedderson, Fedderson will fix it. You get a crappy one from CZ, their guarantee at 50 yards is 1 inch, I think, and that's not much of a guarantee. Hmm. Yeah, I don't. You somebody posted earlier go-to gun for squirrels, and I totally forgot about the question. CZ452, whatever one I have that's threaded. You know, most of them are accurate, uh, just like the next one I reach for. They just are. Cool. Yep. Brr, brr. Yep. I can get you. I can get you that number. No problem. Hey, thank you for stopping by, Russell. I'm glad you joined in, buddy. Best score on the Black Death Challenge. My daughter was a sniper the other night. I hung that one proudly on my safe like you'd hang a piece of homework or a test that got an A+ on the refrigerator. Um, I want to say master sniper, but it was probably 25 yards. I don't think I really tried it much at 50. 452 versus the 455. I was having this conversation with somebody today via email. Since 452s are still available, I'm buying a 452 because 455s will always be available until they phase them out. The 452 is, to me, more accurate than the 455. It's not by much, but I think you're more likely to get a lemon in the 455 line than you are to get a lemon in the 452 line. However, if you get a lemon in the 455 line, there are avenues to take to correct it. Feddersen, Lilja, Schilling, uh, Benchmark, they all make barrels that will fit the 455 receiver. It's going to cost you more money, but you'll have a better shooting gun when it's over with. Um, but my money goes on the 452, even the ones that are on the market. And if the in stock market dries up, then the used market prices are going to go up. Hello to Susan. Wow, $300 for a CZ452 when you're shopping for a Marlin 39, Article 39. That's a pretty sweet gun. I like lever actions. I like the fact tube fed magazine, but that's not something I hunt with. I've got a Henry, and I like it, but it ain't accurate enough. There's something iconic about running that bolt. Most of the time on my CZ452, David asks a good question. Do I modify them? I always fix the trigger. Always. I have three, four. I have three that are skim bedded and pillared. I have one that is full length bedded, which is my 455 and pillared. That was from a gunsmith out of New York. And the last one I bought in a batch out of Whitaker's is completely stock as far as bedding and pillars go. It only has a Yo Dave trigger on it, and it's very accurate. I had it cut down to 17 inches, brought it home, had a harmonic issue with it. It was stringing shots up and down an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Took it back, had him cut it to 16.5. The node went away, the inaccuracy node went away, and it started, printing one tiny hole. That's the one that I had an XP5 on this year that I took the squirrel at 100 yards with. I do love the bolt. If Marlin could slick their action up like the Henry action, I'd be more inclined to shoot the Marlin. But the Marlin's heavy. Marlin's really heavy. If Winchester would ever bring out their 94-22 again, I might consider one of those. The thing I don't like about the Browning lever action is the fact that the trigger and everything comes out and it's a short throw. I don't like the Browning. The reason I'm quick to answer questions, if that one was directed towards me, I've got working knowledge of this stuff. I spend a lot of time tinkering, answering questions, gathering intel. I'm pretty passionate about this stuff. I hope it comes through in the videos and on the blog. I really do. Cool. If you've got an all stock rifles that do great for you, that is great. You've got really good luck. And a lot of time when CZ sends a rifle out, it's in the 3 pound mark on the trigger, and that just we shoot somewhere between a pound and 3/4, a pound and a half. LeBrad likes his stuff lighter than that. He's a rifle basics trigger fan. If he can shoot a rifle basics, he prefers it. He's a little different shooter than I am. I take my time, I breathe, and all that. He does better pulling his gun up, getting a quick sight picture, and snapping the trigger. And most of the time, he's accurate that way. Most of the time, he's really accurate that way. Oh, cool. Well, that's good. The hotel I happen to be using has pretty decent Wi-Fi then. Dang right. That's a great feeling to have, ain't it, Mark? If you can put his head in that optic, if you can put that crosshair on his eyes, it's over. Pull the trigger, it's like cashing a check at the bank. Ching. Yep. Dang right. Dang, that's a great feeling. And it's a how did I miss feeling when you don't make contact. And of course, if you've read over the Ely article that I did on the website, you see where I had that 917 foot per second flyer. And had I not been shooting in the chronograph, I'd have thought I was doing something wrong. But you lose 100 feet per second in value at 50 yards, you're going to have a drop like that. So when you're averaging somewhere between 1043 and 1046 feet per second, and you lose over 100 feet per second, you're going to have a flyer. Yep. If I can see his eyeball, he's mine. You almost need that quote put on a shirt or something. Well, gang, we've been doing this for about an hour and a half now. I'm going to give her about 5 more minutes, and then I think I'm going to shut her down for the evening. But I think since I'm going to be in this location for a week, we may jump on and do this again. If y'all want to do that, let me know. Best with the Ultralux and the Simmons, 25 yards. I shot the Black Death, shot a 37 Black Death Master with a Gila Super Extra copper plated. Cool. You did good. You did really good. That's impressive. You know that flyer that I had that day with that Aguila Subsonic that I got on video, I'm still blown away. It was a funny time to see that round fly like that. But it was entertaining. That's why I released that video. It was funny to me. Longest shot on a Squirrel, 135 paces with a CZ 455 and 17. Yep, I would say that's easily done with a 17. Mine's the furthest that I know of is 100 yards, 22 suppressed, CZ 452 American shooting Ely subs. Took 2 shots. First one completely missed. He couldn't figure out what happened. He came back, sat down on the same stump, and I settled again, and I nailed him the second time. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, that's some classic Batman right there. I shouldn't know anything about that. I'm too young, but I know what you're talking about. Well, I would love to do more of these, but it's very, very strange to me that in 2018, at my home location, I have internet service within 400 foot of my house, but they want to charge me. Last quote was $24,000 to run internet to my house. So if in 1960, when we went to the moon, a man on Earth could talk to a man in a space shuttle on a CB radio, and in 2018, I can't get internet service at my house in a fairly populated area. And yeah, that's why I don't do these. I just happen to have internet on this business trip I'm on, and I figured I'd take advantage of it. And fill some of my viewers in on what's going on and have a live chat. This is cool. I enjoy this. Heritage Rush Rider. I bought one. It was so freaking cheap I couldn't. And I basically bought it just to cock the hammer. It sounds so cool to get that 4-click cock. Oh man. Is it accurate? I hadn't shot it enough to know. Is it worth spending the extra on the Ruger? Maybe. But $135? Yeah, I'll take one. Yeah, I like it. It feels like a full grown single. What are they called? Ruger single six. It feels just like that. Weekly live feed. Oh, if only I had internet service, bruh. If only I had it. Telling you, it's so aggravating to not have internet at the house, especially the way school is going these days, and the kids are doing more stuff online. And they're like, "Oh, it'll be $24,000 to run the line to your house. Are you smoking crack? I can buy 3 or 4 vehicles for $24,000. Yeah, that would be cool for me. I'm sitting in Pink Slime Central eating some chicken nuggets, doing a live feed about squirrel hunting. Y'all going crazy. I'd love to do more videos. It's a time constraint thing. It's between work, family life. Yeah, I think this is for everybody who's a content creator, and making sure my daughter has my undivided attention when she needs it. Those things take precedence, but you're going to see more of her. And of course, I film. If I turn out monthly videos during the squirrel season, my viewership numbers are not as good as if I turn out one clump video from highlights from the whole season. And it's easier on me if I do editing that way. So that's why I turn out the clump video at the end of the season. It's easy. We go on a hunt. I bring the video stuff back. I put it in the timeline. I save it. Next hunt, bring it back, edit it down, put it in the timeline. So when we get to the end of February, I'm ready to turn the video out. Yes, $24,000 a day. They're contracting out with somebody else, and I got a terminal here. I got a terminal here, and I'm in the dead zone. Yeah, it blows my mind. The first estimate was like $3,500, and we told them they were smoking crack. And then they come back and go to 20. We've even had the attorney general involved, and we still can't get service. You're right. Mo Outdoors has got it. It's better for me to focus on my family, and that's why you see less of me. And I'm trying to do the best I can on Instagram. Not everybody uses that. That's an easy medium for me to use on my phone all the time. Me and LeBron went live in the field last year with that. So yeah, that may be something we do again this year, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed being able to have the capability to do that. At least I got internet on the phone, but you only got so many gigs and so much bandwidth. The only other camera I use is the scope cam that I've used that is shooting back at me, that you can see what's going on, what I'm doing, how I'm operating. And that is, gosh, what is that camera? It's a Spy Point. It's a generic GoPro, and it works well. I've been pretty impressed with it. Other than you can't really tell what's going on the screen. You can't tell if your battery's great. You can tell if you're recording, but it's not real. It's not real. Hey, I'm recording kind of thing like a GoPro is. But GoPro's too pricey for me. Cool. You were on the live stream for Instagram. Thanks. That's awesome. Yep, hopefully we'll do that again this year. We get a break into action, and we'll probably have a break into action opening day. I may do something on opening day, which is October the 15th. That to me, that should be a holiday. I always take it off work it's known around the office that that's my Christmas. I ain't gonna be there opening day of squirrel season, and I schedule my fall dental appointments for the middle of the day so I can squirrel hunt in the morning. I can get my teeth cleaned in the midday, and I can squirrel hunt in the evening. Genius. Primary squirrel feed here. Any type of acorn. White oak, red oak, pin oak, water oak. And of course, this is not in this particular line. They prefer the white oak the most. It just depends on how sparse. The deer coming through, and we've had a bumper mast crop. The deer will vacuum up like a Hoover. So it goes down a certain line, and then they get the pine cones, which that's a whole lot of work for such little food. I've seen them eat mushrooms. Some of the places we hunt have corn, and I'm just talking about like in the field. They'll go out there and get a cob of that. We find those in the woods. Some type of berry that I have seen them eat, but I couldn't tell you what. I don't think they mess with the American hollyberry. Black walnuts, they mess with those, but boy, they're a lot of work. That's like cracking a safe. Pecans, if they're around, but they usually like to eat those or cut those before they mature. Yep. Thank you, David, for hanging out with me and being interactive. It's great. I enjoy talking with other hunters, and I'm so glad we have the opportunity for me to sit here and be in a virtual space where we can have that type of opportunity. It's awesome. Yep. Thank you, Mo, for hanging out. Yeah, it's good to see you. And if I come on again this week, it'll probably be during this type of time frame. So please join us again, even if it's just to hang out and chat. Mulberry, ding, ding. That's something I forgot. They will wear a ripe mulberry tree out. Hickory, dang, I forgot that one. Wow, how do I forget hickory? Yeah, hickory, definitely. Matter of fact, I shot one a couple seasons ago. The way I honed in on him is I could hear his I could hear his teeth cutting. He's cutting through the outer shell. The hickory nut was still green. And I was actually within 12 yards of that squirrel before I had spotted him. It was, matter of fact, I think it was opening day. The foliage was so thick, and I just happened through and finally found it. Cool. I'm glad to hear that, Lance. Thank you so much for joining in. It's just something I decided to do on a spur of the moment. I didn't even know if I'd be able to do it. I didn't have live chat set up on YouTube. I said, you know what? I'm going to wing this. I'm going to go for it. And it's been a good evening. I'll see what I can do about making that squirrel Brunswick stew video. I've got some squirrels I need to clean out of the freezer before we start stockpiling them back in there. And I will see how difficult it is to shoot that video. I'm going to piece it together with me putting the ingredients together and showing you how I boil the squirrels and debone them. And you see a little bit of the dogs, and then you'll see me taste testing at the end. And I'll put some ingredients either on the screen or down in the description and see how well it turns out. Because I think people don't want to see somebody who just constantly kills. You want to see what they're doing with what they're harvesting, and I completely agree with that. You want to see what they make of it, and I think taking an animal is a blessing, and being able to use that animal to nourish your body is a blessing, and also to be an opportunity to give to someone else. That's a real strong reason that I do still squirrel hunt. They're great to chase, and it's just something to think about with squirrels, and it's something that doesn't turn me off from deer hunting. But you're gonna sit there, you might shoot, you might not. If you hunt horns forever and you hunt the biggest set of horns you think is you'll ever see, you'll spend a whole lot of time not shooting. When I go into squirrel woods to hunt squirrels, I'm almost guaranteed I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot more than once, and I'm going to have a good time doing it. I don't have to get scent free. I don't have to be there 30 minutes before and sneak into the woods in the dark. And I don't have to spend crazy amounts of money on my gear unless I choose to. And I don't need the top of the line Sitka gear to hunt a squirrel. A pair of jeans and a t-shirt and a flannel shirt. It doesn't take much. It's just so peaceful and enjoyable to be able to walk out there and know you're going to shoot. There's no telling what other type of game you're going to encounter. It helps you get better for larger game pursuits, turkey, foxes, coyotes, bobcats, elk, whatever you're going to hunt. You will be a better hunter all around if you hunt small game. You will be more accurate, especially if you hunt something like a 22 with an optic. There's something that I'm itching to go squirrel hunting. This is a great time to have a live, because we're only about 2 months away here, and I'm itching to go. I know my people in the chat over here, you feel the same thing. Yeah, I'd be glad to use your knife in the video. Absolutely. Absolutely. Salt, pepper, flour, hot grease. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You get them tender and you get them fried up right. It's like eating chicken at a tree. Yep. I'll see what I can do about doing the cooking video. What I enjoyed about my cooking video that I did with the fried squirrel was the fact that I put the bug assault in there and I was shooting all those flies. That, if you can find one of those for inexpensive, however, they are manufactured out of China and they will have parts that break. But get this, I took mine apart. I reduced the trigger weight. I stippled the pump because the pump's slick. I have had to use a paper clip to close the hopper on the top because the little plastic clip broke that holds the salt in. But that is one of the most favorite. I took the safety off of it. I took the rear sight off of it. I have totally modded my bug assault out. It's one of my favorite cooking utensils now. It helps keep the flies away. It is a pretty cool tool. Bow hunting. For 30 yards and wanted to shoot it dead on. I pulled old arrows and shot him. Yep, if you're accurate with a bow and arrow and you can hit a squirrel with it at 30 yards, that's pretty doggone impressive. Nice. That's a give and take relationship. You wake your daughter up for school and she wakes you up to go squirrel hunting. Oh man, that sounds pretty good. Homemade Hawaiian barbecue sauce. It does sound pretty good. Barbecued squirrel. And the longer you cook it, especially in a moist environment, it definitely tenders up. But I agree, the older squirrels are a little tougher. Yes, I have squirrel hunted with a handgun on a couple occasions, and it was companion to the rifle. So if I'm stalking through the woods, I'd like to carry a handgun, because if I stalk up on one within 10 or 12 yards, I'd much prefer to take that shot with a handgun versus a rifle, for the simple fact that you got to factor holdover. If your parallax doesn't go down that far, your target's blurry. If you looked at those squirrels that were, I think it was the beginning of last year's video, LeBrad and myself were out collecting what we had shot that morning when those two ran up on us and ran up on that tree. And I said, wow, this is embarrassing. And the squirrel sitting there going, and flapping his tail. That was a shot. I rather had filmed that than I had take that shot with my rifle. So we let those walk to breed another day. Well, it is ticked over 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I am going to let it go for the evening. I am totally glad I did this tonight. I appreciate everybody's involvement and checking in. And if I have this opportunity to do the rest of the week, I'm going to try to do this. Since I don't have internet access at home and I can't do it there, I'm going to do my best to try to be available this week on this business opportunity and interact with my crowd. It's very, very humbling to have y'all here, and I appreciate it. So, Naybone Buster, the Tree Squirrel Sniper, I'm going to sign off. Y'all take care, and I look forward to seeing you some more this week. Roger that, Mo Outdoors as a closeout. Since they done the YouTube policy where they're censoring gun content, yeah, it definitely hit hard. Definitely. Appreciate it, guys, and I will check you later this week. Thanks, everybody.